Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to Heart Space Atelier. I'm Henry. I'm your host. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, hello. Heart Space Atelier, my podcast, is a space where we discover the deeper well within us that is overflowing with love and magic and just returning home to ourselves. So we are always talking all that good shit about those things and how we can return back home to ourselves, how we can experience more magic and love in our life in every single corner of it. Hello. So the vibe here is cozy. It's a bit different. I just came home from working out and I made this incredible smoothie with so much veggie stuff and fruit and protein powder and it was so good, y'all. I'm gonna put a picture in here because it was so good. It was like a rainbow mix of vegetables and fruits and it was so beautiful. I just needed to share that. So this is your homework. Make a smoothie or get yourself a smoothie because we need it. If you live in a place that is still going through winter, just make sure you get all those healthy things in. Anyway, totally besides the point. Today we're going to be talking about how to protect your energy, and we are also going to be talking about why it is so important and that it is not just a choice you should make, it is a choice you have to make in today's world in order for you to thrive, in order for you to have a good life, in order for you to calm your nervous system and to not be prone to so much bullshit. I'm sure you know one of those people, or maybe you are or you were one of those people yourself. You always seem to attract a lot of negative experiences that are coming out of nowhere and you're like, oh my god, this is all happening to me, life is happening to me, blah blah blah. Life is happening for you. And whatever you give your energy, your sacred well of love, whatever it is overflowing into, it will create more of, So let's say you have this really bad fear and you are just you are having a very important exam next week or you're having a job interview or something. And instead of being like, okay, I may be anxious right now, but I can do it, you're like, oh my god, this is the worst thing that's ever going to happen to me. I feel so anxious, and that anxiety is kind of spreading in all different areas of your life. Or when it's something that's going on in the world and it's really sad and it's horrible and it has caught your heart's attention so fully to the point where you cannot think about anything else and where you seem to go through life like you are living in this darkness yourself, even though you're not in that situation, I need you to tune out and to tune inward, okay? This is so important. I'm gonna tell you how. And also, before anybody comes for me, I am not saying that we should be ignorant. I am not saying that avoiding and ignoring is the solution to all problems. What I am saying is, if you're already consuming the heavy weight of the world every single day and you're passive about it, you're not donating, you're not spreading awareness, you're not doing nothing, then what is the point? The only effect it will have is bringing you down, becoming a part of the darkness. You are becoming a part of the darkness, and it will paralyze you. And from that place, you cannot act from a place of love and overflow. We must stay in a place of love and overflow to help others, to help elevate the darkness of the world into light. We must stay in the overflow of love, no matter how hard it is. So I'm not asking you to turn away, but I also wouldn't judge you either. I wouldn't judge you. since we are all hooked onto our phones and social media and all of that, and you cannot seem to set a boundary and like distance yourself from certain events happening, and you're reading so much into it, the first thing I need you to do in order to protect your overall energy in your everyday life is that you need to find a safe haven of meditation, mindfulness, where you can really tap into your inner overflow of love. Because as I always say, we all have a deeper well of love and hope and magic within us. This cannot go away. This will never, ever, ever, ever go away. Even when we have people that have gone through the craziest shit, or if you went through the craziest shit and you feel like it's lost, trust me, it is not lost. It is still alive, but it is just buried a little deeper within. And you can trust me on this because I went through the darkness. I know how it feels to feel like this deeper well of love within me is lost. But all that I needed to do was dig it back up again. And you can too. Trust me, I'm living proof. We are all living in our own drama. We are all living in our own coming of age movie or show, and so much drama is already happening within ourselves and around. And the fact that so many horrible things are happening in the world just adds so much weight and heaviness to it. And what I need you guys to do, and this is especially important for me to make this episode right now because I just had this epiphany earlier as well. As I was walking through the world and I opened my phone and I saw the most horrendous news, in that moment I was like, okay, I accept this situation, but I need to put myself out of it, and I need to approach these things with this overflow. Because if I'm going through the world already super overstimulated, already stressed, and then I open my phone as an escape to calm down or something, as we all do, and I see even more horrible stuff, how does that help me? How does that help the world? So in that moment, I was like, shit, this is so sad. I'm about to cry. But then I took a deep breath and I was like, I need to approach this differently. So the first step towards protecting your energy is being mindful about when you consume certain things. This could mean being mindful about when you consume social media and news. This could mean you know that you want to call your mom in the next few days, but you know that she's a bit more of a negative Nancy, and you are really trying hard to live your dream life and to get all of your ducks in a row. And you know that this call will influence you in a negative way and that it may bring you down as well. You schedule that call for a time where you're not overwhelmed, where not too much is going on, and where you maybe even just take a few deep breaths before. You have to approach everything dark with this. Schedule it. I don't want none of you to wake up in the morning, first thing go on social media, consume all of that shit, and then do nothing about it. Like, if you're gonna consume it, at least do something. At least donate. At least try to do like a better meditation and send love to the people who really need it, you know? I just hate the fact that everybody's like, oh, but we must see and we must understand, and like, yes, but we also need to do more. I feel like social media is just so full of people who are like, we consume, but we don't help. And that's kind of sad. So for me, helping and then deciding to switch off and stay in my own lane is so much more powerful than just consuming and letting the heaviness of the world consume you as well. So set those boundaries. It is not selfish, it is fucking needed. It is actually selfless, because when you are vibrating on a frequency of love, it is easier for you to help people. It is easier for you to spread the love, and it's easier for you to consume the heavy content with more ease and then actually want to help. So let me tell you guys a little story on how I was inspired to make this podcast episode in the first place, because something happened a couple of days ago that left me feeling a bit, well, energetically unwell. I can give you guys a little backstory. So my boyfriend is moving into a new place, and we basically hired people that like delivered some furniture and stuff. I had to communicate with these people in that moment, and they were so mean, and like energetically, like there was something so weirdly off, and just I was like, oh God. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to approach this with love. I'm protected, because that is also the thing, guys. Like, we don't have to do any crazy spiritual rituals every single morning to stay protected. All we have to do to be spiritually and energetically protected is just to say to yourself in your mind or out loud, I am protected. That is all you need to do. The only thing you need to do is to know that you are protected. If you want to take it up a notch, wear your protection necklace, or, you know, like whatever. Or you can speak intention into the hoodie you're going to wear that day, and you can be like, okay, as I'm putting this hoodie on, it protects me from any negativity, any energy that is not in alignment with me. Because everything is energetic. And I love to do this, guys. Like sometimes when I'm in a rush and I didn't really have time to meditate in the morning, because that is something I always strive to do. But for some reason I didn't have time that day, I would just put on my jacket and be like, okay, my jacket is keeping me grounded and energetically protected. It is so easy. We don't have to do anything crazy. We don't necessarily need crystals for that, even though that is such a magical way as well. And your inner child likes these sparkly things maybe, and then it's just gonna feel more magical. So I do that as well. I mean, we have the clear quartz, we have the Palo Santo, we have a banger necklace with lots of crystals, intentionally handcrafted, and we have my whole home is full of these items, okay? So basically what happened in that moment was I had this little argument with the delivery guys because they just wouldn't park, and they were trying to bribe me into giving them money so they would park their car, because they pretended they couldn't park there. That's the short and sweet version of it. But immediately I was like, I'm not having it. We already paid for those guys. Like, come on, you know? So I was firing back, but like obviously not going overload and putting unnecessary energy into it. But I made sure to stand my ground and be like, listen, what the fuck? Like, you know? So eventually they, you know, parked, and we needed to carry all that shit into the apartment, even though we had also paid for that. And listen, I know that job may be hard. Maybe you're having a bad day, but to be so rude about it and like so weird about it, it was just like a really bad experience. So my boyfriend actually ended up triggering them and, you know, creating some drama. Oh, sorry, the phone was just shaking. Creating some drama as they were leaving. And it ended up like in a huge discussion, and I was in the middle like, yo. The funny thing is, before we even went there and I started my day, I put on this clothing item that I kind of associated with a more negative time of my life. And I know some of you are going to be like, okay, this is a bit crazy for me. Don't worry. You don't have to agree with me on this or believe it. But I associated this hoodie with the negative time in my life. It's a hoodie from Coachella 2023. I didn't actually go to the festival, but I got the hoodie nonetheless, but that's a different story. So basically, I was like, I feel the need to like energetically wash it, energetically cleanse it before I wear it again. But we were kind of in a hurry and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to wear it anyway. And then I had this lingering feeling that some weird ass energy was on me. I'm so sorry. Like this, some of you may not believe that the same way I do, but I fucking do, y'all. Energy is in everything, and sometimes it can influence the smallest things. So if you have like a weird clothing item that looks really beautiful, but you just feel like something is wrong with it, just cleanse it. You can even put it into the washing machine and like speak intention into it. Like, this is gonna cleanse it from any energy that is negative or not mine. Especially if you're buying secondhand, you know? So, I don't know, it may seem silly to some, but for me, I think everything in this world is spiritual and energetic, and we need to make sure to keep everything energetically clear. So as I was putting the hoodie on, I already felt some weird ass energy. And for some reason, I knew in that moment something was about to happen that day that may not be the most lovey-dovey experience. I don't know why, but time is an illusion, I guess. I knew in that moment. But yeah, after this experience, I felt this deep inner knowing that I should record this episode. I want to talk about a few more quote-unquote little things that really help with keeping your energy correct and straight and like in a line, all your ducks in a row, you're unfuckable with, you're divinely protected, you know? Let me tell you what I love to do. Firstly, when I drink water, I imagine the water cleansing me from the inside out. We obviously need water as humans, Make sure you drink 3 liters a day, guys, okay? This can become such a spiritual experience because, as some of you may know, water also is energy, contains energy, and whatever you speak into it, it kind of returns, So before drinking your water or tea or coffee, make sure to speak some intention into it. Like as I'm drinking this coffee, it is protecting me. It is protecting my energy field before I go out into the day, to work, to the office, to the gym, wherever you're going. Anything you do can become a ritual. And this is the beautiful thing of the human experience. Everything we do, taking a shower, is not just taking a shower, it is spiritually, energetically cleansing your energetic field as well. When we drink water, we can speak our intention into it and we can manifest with that. When we have a spicy time, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the word sex on YouTube, so, I'm not sure. I don't want to get restricted, so, but you know what I mean. And we can manifest with the high point of it. We can manifest dancing. We can manifest working out. Everything is energetic. Everything is energetically moving. So that is why it's so important for you to know that, because once you know that, you can do everything more intentionally. And this is also pretty cool because as you are doing everything more intentionally, it helps you stay more present. Because now, when I cook, when I bake, when I clean, when I shower, when I have my coffee in the morning, I'm like, oh, what energy, what intention do I want to speak into it? It can be so beautiful, and I highly recommend it. Everything is energetic. Speak intention into every single thing. Even if you're on your commute to work and you're stepping into the subway or the bus or into your car, you can be like, as I enter the store, I enter the season of blessings, the season of miracles. We can literally manipulate ourselves into being on this path, because that is the exact opposite of the path of people that are like deeply negative and always reaffirm to themselves like, oh my God, my life is so negative, my life is so shitty. Because some people just want that. Some people just, even if they don't know it, they want that. They are looking for the next negative thing, whereas I am looking for the next miracle. And this doesn't mean I'm a better person, because it's all neutral, But what it means is that I am much more likely to welcome this miracle with open arms, whereas a deeply negative person is gonna miss it because they're so caught up in their bullshit. Same as winning the lottery, for example. A person who is energetically open to receiving money and worked through their money trauma, they are not gonna be subconsciously pushing that money away again, whereas a very negative person with a weak money mindset is going to win the lottery. How quickly is that money going to be gone, spent on bullshit, whereas the spiritual, in touch with their emotions and energy and trying to keep their energetic ducks in a row straight, that person is going to spend it more wisely and make it become a fountain of more money, because they will know where to invest in it, So these are just a few examples of how everything is just kind of like you choose which path you walk on. And it is all so easy. Life is easy, guys. I need you to remember that. I need you to come correct with yourself, with your energy, with your life, your priorities. Because a lot of you guys are focusing your focus and energy onto things that are really, really, really not worth it, and that are going to distract you from embarking on the golden path of your heart, what your heart wants. Because I know for a fact that if I hadn't actively chosen to break free from my negative limitations that I made up, that are not even true. This is another thing. You have so many lies you keep telling yourself, your brain thinks it's true. It is not universally true, it is your truth. That is why, for example, two people are trying to build the exact same business. One will completely succeed while the other one will completely fail. Why? Because the first person has audacity, has a beautiful money mindset, lives in abundance, lives in gratitude, is connected to their higher selves, while the other person is just focusing way too much on the negative aspects and the challenges and just playing really small, while the first person has the audacity to play bigger, even if they think like, oh my gosh, like who am I to do this? They're gonna do it anyway. Because that's the thing. In order to heal all those negative beliefs about ourselves or lies we have within ourselves that are living as quote unquote truths, which are not truths, they're just lies we keep telling ourselves. It is all just, you can decide anything you want to be, and it may be hard, but if you feel like you don't deserve something, that is exactly when you go after it. Because that is the only way you can heal it. You are healing by doing. You can read as many spiritual books you want, or heal your trauma, whatever, which is beautiful. It is powerful as fuck. But the most healing you will do is by taking action and by doing. Learning by doing and healing by doing, y'all. Healing by doing. Okay? Truly ask yourself what lies you keep telling yourself. And maybe, just maybe, those lies are actually going to be the beliefs of some other people, not even yourself. Maybe you keep telling yourself, and this is honestly a huge issue with racist families. So, for example, like your grandparents and parents like are super racist or something like that. And maybe you are too. Like, this is a stupid example, but I think it's very important to talk about this because it is so stupid, you know? And your whole life you grew up like super racist. But at some point, as you got older, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with those people? What the hell? Like, this doesn't make sense. What kind of quote unquote fear is that? Or like your family's super homophobic or something like that. And as you grow older, you're like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? Like, as you are becoming your own person, you realize that that is not the truth. This is a generational lie that was attached to you, but now that you're older, you can unattach it from yourself. So I'm using these extreme examples to tell you that this is the way in so many things. Maybe you have some deeply inherited generational fear of money, fear of success. And all of your family is just like really broke, and you have decided that you need to fight against it because you love money and you want to get rich. And as you are on the path of getting rich, as you are on the path of, fulfilling your potential and going after your dreams, all these fears are coming up. And you're like, oh my God, where's this coming from? Honey, it's from your family. Did you know the fears and trauma your grandparents had or have can be literally downloaded to you? I don't know what better word to find, but like it's literally a download, you know? So your parents got those fears and trauma downloaded as well from your grandparents. And not only do you carry some of your parents' fear, you also carry some of your grandparents' fear. And maybe even your ancestors way down the line, like, we don't know. But this has recently literally been proven. I think it was like this scientific project with rats, and they would smell a certain smell like cherry blossom or something. I'm not sure if I remember correctly, guys. Don't come for me. I'm not sure. But there was some kind of test where rats smelled cherry blossom, and then like seconds later they were like spanked. I don't know. Poor rats, by the way. Hate animal testing. That is so horrible. So fucking horrible. Can't believe we're still doing that, but what the hell. So at some point the rats were like, as soon as they smelled the cherry blossom smell, they were like, oh my God, shit, the spanking is coming. Like, and this is a fear that they gave their literal rat children, guys. They're rat children. And we love to talk about the fact that, animals are so dumb, rats are so disgusting and dirty. First of all, no. And also they're super smart. And now when you look at a rat, very small beings, and you look at a human, and us humans, we claim to be smarter, and we are in many ways. What do you think is the same situation here for us? Probably even bigger. Because if you say that we are smarter beings, then obviously we must have got more downloads from our past ancestors when it comes to fear and trauma. So, not everything you fear and you believe is from yourself. For some reason, I personally have this fear of fire. I don't know where it came from. I never had any instances with fire that were negative. Instead of one time, there was like a little light popping out of a socket, but that really scared me. But it also wasn't a moment that was like, oh my God, like crazy, you know? So for some reason, like I have a fear of fire. So maybe down the line, my ancestors were witches at the Salem witch trial and they were burned. Like, I don't know. So we carry a lot of fears that are not our own, and it's important for us to realize that, because the first step towards releasing that is realizing and being like, oh, wait a second. This is why am I scared of that? Why am I scared of success? Why do I not want to be famous? Because I'm scared to take up space. Watch my last episode, by the way. You must learn how to take up space. Very important. There's so much shit in our minds that we keep telling ourselves, and we believe in it. We believe in it like there's no tomorrow. We throw ourselves into victim mode like there's no tomorrow. We believe the lies that our inner devil keeps telling us. Bullshit. What are you doing? Wake up. Not everything you think is truth. You could even go as far as to say there's no such thing as 100,000% truth, because people are always going to have different opinions. But what matters is that you find your own truth and not your own fears, you know, because they're most likely fake anyway. They're not true. Some people will get into the car every morning driving to work, being all fine, having the best time, while some people are super scared of driving because maybe they had a car accident or something, you know? Things like that happen and exist simultaneously. So, same with money. Same with going on a glow-up journey. Maybe you're scared to go on a glow-up journey because you're like, oh my God, I'm scared of attention. I'm scared of taking up space. Again, watch my last episode. So, you know, just know life is a game, and you get to literally decide what you believe in, what not to believe in, as you do the conscious and subconscious work. It's all a game. This is all a game. Subconscious work is a game. Conscious work is a game. Your morning routines, your silly morning routines, night routines, work, everything is a game. You decide how you show up. You decide what you believe. It is so easy, guys. And I know some people may be annoyed at this because they're like, oh, everything is happening in the world, like it's horrible. Yes, it is, guys. Yes, it is. But as you're watching this, you have a privilege that you ignore most of the time, and I find that really sad. So get to work. Sit your ass down. Realize what lies you keep telling yourself. Realize how you can show up for yourself and then to the world in a better way. Because all you do is talk, but you don't do. And that is really sad. So you must get back onto the golden path of alignment, onto the golden path of love, of connecting back with your deeper well of love inside. And then you can see what the world is up to. And then you can see what you do in order to change that. For me, it is super important to show up every single Thursday at 4:44 p.m. Berlin time to release my podcast episodes. Because I know in my heart that's going to help somebody, that's going to help people from all over the world. And that is a good feeling. If you listen to these words and what I have to say, and you get something from it, and you carry that within your heart, and then maybe you give it to the next person, I think that is one of the most beautiful things. So I know that I will protect my energy first. I will have all of my ducks in a row. Sorry, guys, my computer just went off. Okay. I have all my spiritual ducks in a row, my angel ducks. And I will then show up to the world and be like, hey, how can I make it a better place? So for me, as I said, my podcast, I want to share as much love and wisdom as I possibly can, because I'm also simply just a messenger. I'm not that special. I have just decided to sit down every week and hit the record button and see what channels through me, and obviously speak from my own personal experiences, which also add value to the topic. So that is also another thing. If you went through so much in life and you're wondering if you're special and you have so much depth and deeper wisdom to add than any person who has never went through anything in life, okay? And then I also know when I start my business, when I do anything, when I make money, I want to donate. I want to, plant trees. I want to help out. I want to make the world a better place. But first things first, I need to have everything I need in order to do that. I need to live an abundant life. I need to enjoy my life. I need to be in overflow of love in order to help the best that I can. That doesn't mean that as you're figuring stuff out in your life, you cannot show up to the world and help. That you definitely can. But we all know if you are financially abundant, if you have time, if you are healthy, if you are operating from your divine overflow of love and magic, you can help the most, you can make the biggest changes. So you better get rich in every aspect of your life, because that's exactly when you can help the world the most. With money too, Anyways, guys, I think that's all I had to say. I'm sorry this episode was a bit more harsh. I don't know, I feel like hello? I feel like a lot of the times my episodes are like, yeah, hey guys, But today I just was like, okay, let's get straight to the fucking point. I don't know. But maybe some of you needed to hear it that way, Protect your energy. You put yourself first always in every single fucking situation. I don't care what it is, you always put yourself first. Okay? And I love you. And if you are listening on Spotify, I would be so forever deeply grateful if you rated this podcast 5 stars. That would help me out a lot. And if you're watching on YouTube, let me know how this felt. I love connecting with you guys and knowing how, what sparked within your mind as you were listening to this. And also feel free to follow me on my socials, on Instagram @CinnamonHenry, and on TikTok, where I post every single day @cinnamon_Henry, and also on my business Instagram, yes, @Heartspace Atelier, where I will start posting snippets from the podcast. So yes, I love you, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next week, Thursday, 4 p.m. Berlin time. Mwah.